kids, ready? I'm ready. Ready to learn with you today and have some fun along the way. Ready, set, go! I'm so glad to be with you today. And today we're going to talk about something that's really, really important. Germs. Do you know what a germ is? Germs are a little bit tricky. There's something we can't even see with our eyes. We have to use a microscope to see germs. But did you know that germs are all over the place? They're everywhere. And we have to be careful so germs don't get inside of us and make us sick. So we're going to talk about that for a minute today. Now, first of all, let's think about what letter germ starts with. What letter do you think it might be? Germs. You know what? This one is kind of a tricky word because there are two letters that make that sound. And one of them is letter J. Let's see if we can find a letter J right here in our alphabet pocket. We've got a letter J right here. But this one is not the one that spells germ. This one is a letter with two sounds. And one of the sounds is girl and garage and gift. But the other part of it goes like George. Or what about giraffe? Or, you know how big giraffes are. This one is super bigger than a giraffe. A giant and gentle. Those words all start with letter J too. Not letter J. We're not talking about letter J with the j sound. Guess what letter it is? Do you know? We're going to look right here. Do you know what letter that is? Letter G, that's right. And lowercase letter g looks like that. There they are, capital G and lowercase g. You know what? I'm going to use my writing road, and I'm going to put a capital G in there, a capital G and a lowercase g, and I think we should write them. Should we try writing them? I've got a marker right here, and I'm going to write a G on my writing road. Now look carefully at this G. It looks almost like a circle, but it stops and goes inside. So let's try our writing road. We're going to start at the top. We're going to go all the way around, and then we're going to go inside. Does that look the same? Sometimes when people do a capital G, they go all the way inside, and then they give him an extra little leg so he doesn't roll. So either one of those is a good way to do a capital G, and you can practice writing one. A lowercase is a circle, and then he goes down and goes underneath his circle. So you could draw some G's, some circles, and practice drawing some G's. Down, around, down, around, down, around, and capitals, around and inside, around and inside. There are a lot of letter G's on there. And you know what? Letter G is one of those letters that's a little bit tricky. I'm going to use my wet wipe, and we're going to clear this board off because I want to talk for just a minute about a whole bunch. There's a whole bunch of letters that have circles. Now, only one way to put the stick makes a G. If I did a tall stick like this, that would be a B. If I did one that went that way, that's a Q. But if I go this way and go underneath the circle, that makes a G. Underneath the circle makes a G. Can you see that? It's curling underneath the circle, not away from the circle. So where you put your stick really, really matters when you're writing a letter G. That way you know it's a letter G instead of a different kind of a letter. All right. Now we talked about that. Let's see if you can find a letter G. I have the whole alphabet. Let's see if we can find a letter G on here, shall we? What letter's this? H, very good. V, S, A, Q. Oh, look, that's got the curl away from it, so we know it's not a G. Y, F, X, W, C. Oh, you're so good at this. J, P, L. Oh, I think there's a G in here. R, very nice. T, D, O, B. Is there a G in here? Z, there's lots of letters. I, there it is. We found letter G. Oh, you know what it says? To gallop gracefully. Pretend you're on a horse. Get ready, get on a horse, and we're going to pretend that we're riding. Are you riding your horse? Oh, that is graceful galloping. Okay, gallop back to your chair, and let's see what else we can find, shall we? We need to talk about germs that you can't see. How do you talk about something that you can't even see? That is a little bit tricky. You know what we're going to need today? We're going to need a piece of paper, and we're going to need our handprints drawn. We're going to need to trace both of our hands on the same piece of paper. So we're going to do that in just a minute. But before we do, let's see what will help us with germs. I'm going to show you a picture of two hands. Now, these two hands, one got washed with soap and one didn't, and then they put them in a microscope. Let's look really carefully. Those white things right there, those are germs. This hand got washed with soap. Are there a lot of germs or just a couple? Yeah, there's not very many. But this hand did not get washed with soap. And look at all those germs. If you're eating food and you've got germs on your hands because you didn't wash them, and the germs get on your food and you put it in your mouth, are you going to get it inside your body? And it might make you sick. So you need to really, really wash your hands. Is that a really good thing we can do to help us not get sick? You're right. So you know what? Let's talk about what way we need to wash our hands. So I've got some pictures. And these pictures, we're going to decide which order they go in. So here's a picture of a boy wiping his hands on a towel. Do we wipe our hands on a towel when we start? No. Oh, now look, he's getting water on his hands. Do we need water? Okay, that's something we need when we do our hands. All right, let's try this one. Oh, he's got some, let's see. He's got bubbles all over his hands. Do we need bubbles to get rid of germs? Yes. How do we get bubbles, though? Oh, in his hand, he has a bar of soap. Do we need to put soap on our hands to get bubbles? So which one of those things do we have to do first? What do you think? Do we need to do a towel first? Do we need to do water first? Do we need to do bubbles first? Or soap first? What's first? Water's first. You're exactly right. We've got to get our hands wet very, very first. If our hands are not wet, can we get the soap on them? The soap, I've got some soap right here. My hands aren't wet. There's nothing on my hands. So we've got to get them wet and then use the soap. Oh, is that what comes next? Is the soap? Look at that. He's got a bar of soap he's rubbing with his wet hands. Okay, so that's next. What's after that? Once we get our hands wet and we get soap on them, do we just rinse the soap off? Or do we need to get some bubbles? The bubbles are what catch all the germs. If we have lots of bubbles and we keep rubbing our hands and getting bubbles, that's what we get all over our hands to pull the germs off of our hands. And then when the soap is all washed off and the bubbles are gone, what's the last thing we use? The towel. Very good. Then we use a towel to dry our hands. And then we have hands that look like this instead of like this. Is that a better way to go to the table, like this? For sure. Now let me show you a little experiment that will help us see our germs. I have a container of water right here, and I'm going to pretend that this is the water from the sink, and we've got germs on our hands. Do you know what's going to be our germs? This is pepper. The pepper's going to be our germs, and we're going to pretend like we're out playing, and we get a bunch of germs on our hands. Oh, can you see those germs? It's time to eat. Do we want to eat those germs? We don't. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to get some soap. Let's put some soap in here. Uh-oh, look what's happening to those germs. What happened when I put the soap in? The germs ran away from the soap. Can you see that hole in there? Wow, the germs just left them all alone. Isn't that crazy? And you know what? That's a little different than a real germs, but soap makes the germs go away. The germs don't want to be by the soap, and that is what happens when you wash your hands. You make the germs disappear. All right, we're going to draw some hands that we have washed. We're going to make a hand with soap and no germs, and a hand with no soap and lots of germs. So we're going to need a white piece of paper, and we're going to put our hands on and trace it. You're probably going to need a little bit of help. It's kind of hard to trace your very own hand. So we're going to put our hand on here. I'm going to have to put it down to draw my hand. I'm going to get, I'm going to get a pen, and I'm going to put my hand on and lay it down, and I'm going to draw around my hand. Okay, you're going to need to draw around your thumb, and 1 finger, 2 fingers, 3 fingers, 4 fingers, and then we have to do it with the other hand. You ready? Around your thumb, fingers. All right, now let's look at the hands right here. There they are. There's Miss Connie's hands. Do you have your hands drawn? Can you draw your hands? Oh, this one I drew across the bottom. I didn't draw across the bottom. I'm going to do that on this one. Okay, now we have 2 hands. We're going to make this one the soap hand and this one the germ hand. Now, did you see what those germs looked like? Let's look really carefully. They look kind of like dots, but look, some of them, can you see that? They look kind of fuzzy. Some of them look kind of long and squiggly. Do you think germs are pretty? So we're going to draw some germs on here. Now this hand was the soap hand. So I'm just going to draw a little teeny tiny, maybe a couple of little germs, because it only has a few, but I'm going to draw lots of germs on this one. Let's do a squiggly long germ. Ooh, and what about a germ right here? I'm going to give this germ a whole bunch of little fuzzies on it. Oh, let's see. How about some more right here? The fun thing about drawing germs is they can be any way you want to draw them. They don't have to look all the same. Oh, look, this one's going to be a long squiggly one. All right. Oh, and you know a place that germs love to go? When you're washing your hands, germs like to hide inside of your fingers. So when you're washing your hands, you want to wash the fronts and the backs and in between those fingers. So guess what? We've got to draw lots of germs right around the fingers. Oh, look at those germs, because that's where they love to hide. Oh, are you getting some germy fingers? And sometimes all over our hands. Oh, right here's another spot. We got to get some long and draw a circle and a whole bunch of little fuzzies on it. Do you have a really, really, really dirty hand? This one doesn't have any soap. Does it look like it doesn't have any soap? Oh, look at that. Let's see. Should we see if it's looking like this hand? Let's look at it. Look, there's the hand with no soap. Oh, we still need to put some more germs on. Look, in between those fingers. Can you see all those germs that are in between our fingers? That's kind of a little bit gross, isn't it? Let's draw a few more germs. Now, if you wanted to color your germs, you could color them. In a microscope, they only look white and gray. But this is your pretend germs. So you can draw your germs any way you would like to. You could take them and you could color your germs whatever color you want. Let's say we want some of them to be black. Could we have some black ones? Yeah, there's some black ones. How about maybe some orange ones? What about orange germs? Oh, here's a bunch of orange ones. And what about green ones? Ooh, does that look like kind of a gross hand? You can, while you're working on your germs, let's talk for just a little minute about sharing germs. Did you know that one of the places we have lots of germs on our own body is inside of our mouth? Our mouth has lots of germs. And you know what? Our hair has germs too. So you know, we don't want to share anything that's in our mouth or in our hair. So let's look at this picture and you can tell me, would we want to share a hat? Has that been on our head? We don't want to share a hat. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take this hat. I'm going to take this hat right here and I'm going to put an X through that hat. We don't want to share hats. Oh, what about lip balm? Putting stuff on your lips. Do we want to share that with our friends? We have germs in our mouth, so we don't want to share that. What about a brush? When you're brushing your hair, you're getting stuff in your brush, and then we don't want to share those germs, so we don't want to share brushes. Oh, what about a toothbrush? That goes in our mouth. We don't want to share a toothbrush. All right, what about a drink? Do you put your mouth on a straw? Do you want to share that? What about a book? Does a book go in our mouth? No. Does a book go in our hair? No. We could share that. I'm going to draw a smiley face on that because we could share a book. What about crayons? Could we share crayons? Yeah, so you know what? I'm going to draw a smile by the crayons. We could share a book and crayons, but we don't want to share hats and lip balm and straws and toothbrushes and hairbrushes because we will spread our germs. And we don't want to share germs. Germs can make other people sick. Sometimes germs you have won't make you sick, but if you gave them to somebody else, you might make them sick. So, one other thing that's really, really important, before you eat, if you don't have time to wash your hands, can you use hand sanitizer? Yeah, you could rub it on. Make sure when you rub it that you do the fronts and the backs and in between and scrub your hands till they're super clean because you don't want any germs on your hands before you eat, do you? We don't. And if you touch the floor where we walk with our feet, are there germs on the floor? Then you might need some more hand sanitizer. And we want to be really careful so that our friends don't get our germs, don't we? I think you are awesome and you are such a good learner. And I think you're going to know exactly how to help your friends and how to be kind to other people. I hope that you have a really cool germ hand and that when you see this hand, it will remind you to wash your hands with soap really, really good. That's so important when we've been outside playing, or even when we've been inside playing and we've been driving our cars on the ground or building with blocks. We've been touching the floor and our hands have lots of germs. So before we eat or before we do things with our little tiny brothers and sisters or babies, we need to clean our hands and wash them really good. And if we just put them in the water, just get some water and a tiny bit of soap and we're done, did we have any soapy suds to get all of those germs off? Do you know what? I know a really, really good song so that we know how long to do soap. So what we're going to do, what you do when you wash your hands, let's pretend together. Get your hand, turn on the water, get your hands wet, and then get some soap on them. Rub the soap all over it. Now we're going to rub our hands while we sing this song. And it's a song that you know. We're just going to change a few of the words. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, and Z. Now I sung my ABCs. All the germs are washed off me. If you sing that song, you have enough time to get rid of all of your germs. And then maybe you won't even have those germs on there. They'll be all the way clean because the ABC song is long enough to get rid of the germs. I'll bet you can do it, and I'll bet you're really, really good at it. I love being with you. See you later, alligator. In a while, crocodile. You're awesome, possum.